StarCraft for more StarCraft fans. You guys are of course watching the Red Bull Battlegrounds qualifiers to see who will go, or rather get a chance at the offline qualifier to compete for the New York spot. Spawning here in the lower right corner, though, playing for Core Gaming, one of the newest North American teams. It is going to be the Purple Terror player Sonic.
His opponent currently up 1-0 in the series. Got to give a big shout out to one of her biggest fans. He would be going crazy if he was watching the stream right now. Part 2 from one of the biggest supporters, Base Trade TV and SD2Links.com. In the upper left-hand corner, Belcher Vestige. From the team Acer, in the yellow trunks, none other than Scarlet.
This is, I don't know. It's definitely, Sonic is the underdog in this series. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But the nice thing is, when you're the underdog, you've got a lot of the pressure off of your shoulders. Like, Scarlet, I'm sure she's probably not bothered by playing against Sonic, but a lot of players in this situation, you know, the pressure's on them to win. They're expected to win, and Sonic is just playing for the upset. He wants to make some sort of crazy play, and I think that's part of why we saw that insane SCV pull in Game 1.
I don't know, man. Was it like trying to get something for the highlight reel, or was it just
it works,
saying,
screw
it, I'm just gonna go with this? But I think if it was more the screw it, I'm gonna go all out with this, he would probably be doing something crazy to open up this game. But we do see him taking a similar approach to how he started out the last game in the series. So
see, this is kind of
Sonic can actually make it work better though.
This is almost the reverse of the way I would have expected this to go. If Sonic was in Game 2, I would have expected him to go for that Reaper opening the way he did, a little bit proxy on location, but because now he's playing standard, he's going to also be playing predictable, and almost loses the SCV. Scarlet wants to get in here, gets it, but also loses her own drone in the process.
That's a win for Scarlet, I think, because you're going in there probably expecting to lose the drone at that point. You're not really expecting the SCV kill. That's kind of like a nice little candle on the cake there.
Make a wish.
That's our new Twitch emoticon. Candle on a cake.
No, you're trying too hard now. But of course, Reaper's coming out of Sonic here, and the Overlord confirms this, which is really great for Scarlet, because you would, seeing the gas like that, you assume it's going to be Reapers. But if your opponent decides to cancel that, go for like some sort of weird, incredibly fast Banshees, like we saw QXC do earlier today in the Home Story Cup, I mean, maybe that turns it around and changes everything. But first, Reaper will come across the map. There's going to be 4 lanes out to defend. 4 is more than enough to handle this. You'll typically build 6 if you want to send 2 across the field to cancel the expansion, but building it in base is Sonic, so not even going to risk that. And, oh, no, gets trapped. Thought there was a space between the spawning pool and the refinery, but there was not. Or, sorry, Vespian Geyser, but that was dealt with very quickly.
Done that before to people, tricked them out like that?
I think it's pretty safe to say that's not the first victim who's fallen prey to that.
It's got to be planned out. Clever move there. Alright, so small victories here. They're starting to compound for Scarlet, and that does not bode well for State. Though I do feel, or it's for Sonic, I mean, it do feel as though Sonic is getting his command center a little bit early in this game, which may be, you know, something that he's, you know, just learned from last game that he wants to try to establish.
I think it looks early. Oh, sorry, my mouse slipped there. I think it looks early because it's in base. This is pretty standard stuff, though. When that first Reaper's coming across the field, that's the same time you put it down on location. And when the second Reaper's across the field, some players won't even send it out. They'll keep it at home, knowing that 2 lanes will be the counterattack. But circumventing all of that nonsense, just building it in base, I'm okay with this. Now, Helly's going to be out in the field here shortly. Sadly, losing that 1 Reaper is going to kind of take a lot of power away from that push that's used to punish Queens. You know, 6 Hellions, 2 Reapers. We've all seen it before, but not going to happen this time, sadly.
And that's something that Sonic's probably really going to want to do against Scarlet is force her Queens to use energy for transfuse, to take a Queen out so that she can't get this sick creep spread going, which is already going to be starting up here with 3 creep tumors already out in the field.
Well, while we wait for this to kick up, Doom, I gotta give a quick shout out. We got Insidia rejoining us in chat. I don't know if you heard it before when we gave him prompts, but he's the one who did the overlays for the Battleground stuff here today, both in-game and out-of-game, so much love to him. He is a true artiste and probably a grandmaster at Photoshop.
Definitely a quality life skill to have, but Rifkin, it's gonna be that Banshee with Cloak, so making a resurgence is the Hellion Banshee style, and I gotta say, I'm a fan, man. This is how I play in the matchup, so I'm gonna support it every time I see it.
It's interesting when it can get utilized properly. The problem is, though, it's pretty easy to shut down and you don't take a lot from it. The biggest threat, of course, is to these queens. One Banshee takes on one queen, no problem, but there's always going to be like 5 queens on the map when it comes to ZVT.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where you got to catch your opponent off guard, and you know, Scarlet, like you said before, already gonna have a lot of queens out here. She's already got a plan established with where she wants to take the game. Going for that +1/+1 right off the bat. Ling speed is just about to finish up. Lair on the way as well. So, you know, even if the Banshee does come to the main base, Spore Caller's gonna be able to deflect that relatively easily. And I don't really see Sonic gonna be able to be pulling anything off here, especially since these Hellions are being deflected pretty nonchalantly by the composition that Scarlet currently has.
Well, more than anything else, it's just the positioning of the queens. There's no way for Sonic to sneak past or even take one on at a time. But Banshee does make it towards the main. Cloak is popped off. Ooh, kind of interesting choice to go for the drones. I mean, it's kind of hard to pick. Do you go for the queen or do you go for the drones? Knowing that there's going to be a ton of queens on the map already, going for the drones makes a lot of sense. But we'll get the queen. Spore Crawler's going to finish one shot, literally too late. And a couple more drones will go down.
Point out that Scarlet surrounded all of the Hellions for Sonic on the right side of the map, and this has allowed her Lings to move across the field and retain absolute map control. Big STV pull is going to go down here for Sonic. He's got a handful of Marines here, should be able to deflect this, but that was definitely a big loss for him on that side.
But Doom, 10 kills on this Banshee. 1 was a queen, of course 9 were drones, and he pulls it back home. He keeps it alive, which is incredible. But Scarlet, once again, going for that pretty quick Spire. Now, she didn't skip upgrades this time. She's going to have the melee upgrades for sure, but...
Do you have an additional Banshee over here to the northeast portion of the map? Going to take down another queen. So these are small victories for Sonic in regards to stifling the creep spread of Scarlet, which I mentioned before is horrifying at the mid-stage points of the game. If you've ever seen a Scarlet game before, she's got the middle of the map covered at the 15-minute mark, and you, as a Terran player, you feel pretty helpless when that's the situation. And targeting down the one with more energy, oh, just barely getting the transfusion energy on the other queen to save it there. So another one of the facets of this Hellion Banshee opener, Rifkin, that's kind of tough to deal with is the Spire Tech. And the Spire Tech is going down for Scarlet in the main base, but there is a large swell of Marines with Stim moving across the field, and that third base is pretty undefended, and there isn't a large circling count right now. So I'm, well, 14 more on the field, 6 Banelings going down. This is just a sweet play from Scarlet, and it's just a lot of great foresight to how she's approaching this matchup right now.
Well, Banshee's gonna get another queen here. This is actually kind of a big deal because now the Banelings are left. Yeah, she can start picking off the Banelings with those Banshees. That's a huge deal. Oh, but has to be careful of that Spore Crawler. Keeping these Banshees alive is so critical as he keeps moving forward, but pushing into the natural base. Banelings struggling to come in from behind. Even if the Banshees go down, if they pick off these Banelings, it's gonna be worth their lives. Only 2 Banelings remain, and he should be able to focus them down. He does focus them down. And Scarlet is suddenly in a lot of trouble, gonna lose the upgrades, gonna lose the natural base. More Zerglings are coming out. Banelings are not currently on the field. These Banshees are still left standing. Queen's trying to get on in here, but this base should go down. And Sonic, with an excellent hit off of 2 bases, will take the natural of Scarlet.
Wow, and I mean, is Sonic gonna try to move into the third base from here, or is it just
no?
Looks like everything's about to
Look at the Banelings. He's got to focus these down before they get a chance to attack. There's a lot of Marines here. They're not spread. They're very clumped up, and the Banelings will get some good connects off.
There was a sick focus firing of the Spore Crawler, and then the Banshee just barely getting the cloak off with 11 health. More Hellions are going to filter here into the main base. There is an additional attack from Marines at the third, and it looks like more and more of these drones are going to fall for Scarlet in this situation.
I can't believe Sonic's making this work, but he certainly is. Drones stutter step going off. Hellions actually can't shoot because he's stuttering too much.
Every drone's going to fall, Rifkin.
Yeah, Banshee gonna clean this up too, and now knocked down to 1 single base. Banelings are coming up. They do have speed, but is it gonna be enough? Sonic is in such a good spot. I really feel like as long as he doesn't throw away this giant lead, game 2 should be his.
This is crazy. This is like the mini SC push. More and more Marines being
built. Oh, he's gonna get +2 armor.
Built 5 at a time. Yo, wow.
No upgrades for Scarlet.
Forced to +1/+1, if anything.
Well, I mean, no more upgrades, I should say. But yeah, with the macro hatchery being forced into main, not a situation you ever want to find yourself in as a Zerg player. But Banelings being focused by these Banshees. Once again, these Banshees coming in a huge effect. Oh, unfortunately going on the Queens there, but here comes the Stim Marines to save the day. Mutalisks are out, but even without Medivacs, Sonic is making this work without Medivacs, guys.
This is impressive play from Sonic. I don't know if he's practiced this more and more again. I don't know if he's going to be pulled off again against
if he went to the top of the ramp,
Scarlet.
he would have seen a lot of Banelings coming in. He probably could have picked them all off, but Sorry to cut you off. I just.
I think you weigh it against the economic advantages here, and it looks like the Banelings are going to crash forward here. The Mulas should be able to clean up the rest of the army, but beyond this, what does Scarlet really have in this game? With the Union County Station, she's got 40 drones, but she's only got 1 base.
Yeah, Sonic is continuing to macro pretty well behind this. He hasn't taken another base by any means. He's still stuck on a pretty low gas count, and his upgrades are a little bit delayed, but now he's got medevacs, something he severely lacked before.
Man, what's creep spread when you don't have any units behind it?
Scarlet gets the tank though, Doom. That's pretty big because that tank was meant to be the anti-Baneling unit. There's no Widow Mines with this army. But Sonic isn't too phased by this. It's a small flock of Mutalisks. He's got the command center transferring over. This would be an absolutely epic game. The underdog coming to take game 2, but if Scarlet can pull this back from a hit that big this early, that would be fantastic.
And +2/+2 starting up. Yep, this is looking pretty good for Sonic, this situation. But Scarlet's not giving up just yet. Reestablishing her second base, reestablishing her third base, and sneaking the Mutas into the main.
No turrets down here. There was a turn every mineral line last game. I don't know why Sonic chose to forgo it this game. Marine's turning around to stim, but I don't know. The danger in letting Scarlet recover from this is, well, quite frankly, you're letting someone like Scarlet recover from this. The Mulas are doing their job by distracting Sonic. They're keeping from him. They're the only reason he's not moving across the field to end the game, and that's the job of these Mulas. So Scarlet is accomplishing that much.
Well, Sonic's just going to say screw it and move across regardless. Here we go.
Yeah.
Got a small army. I don't know if this is going to be enough to defend against the Mutas in combo with the Banelings, but Scarlet has really got to make sure she gets those Mutas back here to defend in time.
Oh, Baneling's now gone, Doom. Used up on those Hellions.
Muta count keeps growing too, Rifkin. 11 Mutas on the field.
I don't know if there's enough Marines. They're going to stim. They're going to do a lot of damage. That much is for certain, but Siege Tank is going to be exposed no matter how you look at it, and trying to come back in time to defend it. Sonic making a classic mistake every player makes at some point playing Terran, where your tank is not covered by any anti-air. And Sonic focusing perhaps a little bit too much on Mutalisks, splitting at the last second. There was some amazing control. However, these Mutalisks are too mobile. They're too fast, and Sonic just can't keep up, even with a good stim.
Man, not even getting those really low health Mutalisks. They're gonna get away. That regeneration gonna come into a factor to get them back in the game a little bit. And looking at the unit count station here, 17 Marines to 14 Mutalisks, Rifkin.
He's falling prey to the distraction tactics of Scarlet. This is single-handedly her Mutalisk control bringing her back into this game. I said this was Sonic's game to lose, and I meant it. And he's giving this away by constantly falling prey to this. Now there's so many Mutalisks on the field. There's Banelings, there's Zerglings, and Scarlet, who should not even still be in this game, quite frankly, is suddenly looking to be in a pretty commanding spot. A lot of this falls back to the low SCV count that Sonic had, I feel. He didn't... Well, hang on, we'll talk about that in a sec. Baneling's going to crash into a lot of these Marines, but Sonic, again, with some amazing splits. If there's one thing this player has going for him, it is his Marine control.
Yeah, and I think it all comes back to him not potentially not moving up the ramp to destroy those Banelings before they came out in the field. But
yeah.
Ling run by at the third base going to be causing a lot more economic damage here, and this is even more devastating for Sonic, who is at such an economic disadvantage at the early stages of the game.
Again, no turrets have been placed down, Doom. So all of these SCVs are going to go down. Scarlet has now even up the resources lost fully, and will take a lead if this command center falls. Flooding across the field does catch one of the siege tanks with these Lings.
Why was that siege tank out there? I don't know. Well, maybe we'll never know, but it does look like this could
into the
be
natural
it for Sonic in the game.
Sonic, I think he just lost his cool. I think he was probably, his heart was beating a mile a minute, thinking like, I'm gonna beat Scarlet. I'm gonna win game 2. But perhaps that little bit of panic, tunnel vision on the Mutalisk combined. It's no one can tell you why other than Sonic himself. But this is really looking rough.
Is Widow Mines. We don't see any Widow Mines, which could potentially be swinging these small skirmishes into Sonic's favor. Could be hitting Mutalisks before they get in the main base to soften them up for Marine attacks, but we don't see them at all.
He's
just continuing to make
tanks. Yeah, this is not a decision I could really get behind, but again, the mobility of these Mutalisks is so huge. It's not the damage they do, it's not the regen, which of course is nice, but it's the speed, and Sonic just can't keep up with them. Coming to the main once again, gonna pick off even more SCVs. A combined... Oh, man, look at the work who's killed this game. Good game. Oh, Sonic
Don't beat yourself up, Sonic.
If they could resume from replay, I guarantee you Sonic would win that game every single time.